Good afternoon, Year 8. It's Friday afternoon, the weekend's nearly here. You don't have to do any work at the weekends, which is nice. You can sit and watch whatever it is you young people do, watch YouTube or something. But in fact, I'm on YouTube now, so you could watch that if you wanted. This lesson is on YouTube. Anyway, today's do now is again to do with Macbeth. All the major characters in Macbeth have opposites. By that I mean well, I've got an example here. Look, Macbeth, the opposite to Macbeth is Macduff. Macbeth becomes a sort of a murderous madman from about halfway through the play onwards, and Macduff is the opposite of that. He's honourable and a family man and so on. So if Macduff is the opposite to Macbeth, who is the opposite of Lady Macbeth and why? So just write a short paragraph explaining that. If you want to send these do now to me, that's fine. I'll be happy to look at them. My email address is on class charts. I'll give you 5 minutes to do that and then go on to the next slide. Okay, today we're going to be looking at how language and structure can be used to create effects. In your GCSE, you both have to look for language and structure devices that writers have used and be able to use them yourself. So this is part of that journey. So your title is Creating Effects Through Language and Structure. Now look at that. This the text that we're looking at today is based on an underwater hotel in Florida. We're going to read a text about it in a minute. And I don't think that's actually a picture of it. That looks a bit sci-fi for a minute, but we will see some actual pictures of it, certainly from the inside. It was a research centre, and then they made it into a hotel. Anyway, that's just to give you an idea. That's potentially what it looks like from the inside. I don't know if you would like to go to a place that I'm not sure I would, because I think it might be quite sort of damp and condensation-y and so on. And it would be hard to talk about anything else other than the fact that you were under the sea, really, wouldn't it? I don't know, perhaps give it a try. And there's a picture of the sort of thing that you might see. Manatees, I believe they are. They are the things that people think sailors saw when they saw mermaids. So there you go. Right, Baracuda breakfast is the piece of text which is on the next slide, so you don't need to print it out. By all means, print it out if you want to. And as you read, underline all the words that you don't know, then try and work out the meaning from the surrounding words. Now, what I mean by that is, Year 8, and we've spoken about this before, particularly when we were doing Macbeth, is that at no point can you be expected to know all the words in all of texts. But don't see the fact that you don't know what a word means as an obstacle, because you can simply go around it and look at the words around it and try and work out you know, what the word means, because quite often when you look in dictionaries they have equally complex words to the one that you're looking up, so you need to be able to figure out what words mean from the tone around them. So give that a good go and then check yourself with the dictionary after that. I'll give you, we've got to read the text as well, so I'll give you 10 minutes to do that. Okay, now here's the text. I'll read it, so read along as I do. Baracuda breakfast. In the Emerald Lagoon in Key Largo, 86 kilometres south of Miami, is the world's first and only underwater hotel. Opened in 1986, the Jules Verne Lodge, sunk 9 metres down in the undersea plaque close to the Key Largo Marine Sanctuary, can accommodate up to 6 in bunk-style accommodation in 2 bedrooms. Inside your 3 metres by 15 metres undersea sub-Atlantic habitat, formerly a marine research laboratory, you feel odd. It is as if you have veered off the road in your large high-tech caravan and plunged into the sea, only to land right way up on the sandy bottom. The Jules Verne underwater suite is more of a submerged caravan than a hotel, but it is exclusive. Nobody bothers you for matches or sugar, and the only spies are fish, such as barracudas. Each large circular window offers a sea view. The American owners are keen to offer you limitless opportunities and the ultimate. Waking in the morning and drawing the curtain to see a metre-long barracuda staring at you is surely some kind of ultimate. Few Europeans get the chance to observe marine life so closely. Likewise, the marine life make the most of the limitless opportunities of observing at close range tourists in their colourful designer pyjamas. When you check in, you need to show your you need not show your passport, only a diving certificate. If you haven't dived before, you can attend a 3-hour aquatic habitat orientation program, which involves learning what salt water tastes like and how to put flippers on the right way. The secret of put flippers on is that there is no secret. There is no right or wrong way to put on flippers. There is no such thing as a left or right flipper. If you remember flippers go on your feet, you can't go wrong. The programme is taken by the world's only full-time professional mermaid, Carla Rush, a 40-year-old from Illinois and former captain of a local dive charter boat. She's been a pro mermaid for nearly 2 years and will teach you how to operate your flippers, the rudiments of breathing compressed air, help you in and out of your wetsuit, clean your mask for you, bring your meals, wash up, carry your bags and do anything else that needs doing, including pushing you in. After a short downward swim, you emerge up from under the hotel into a dive pool, from where, once Carla has eased you out of your oxygen tank, you are shown to your living chambers. These are equipped with all mod cons. Carla then leads you to your microwave steak and lobster and returns to dry land to work the controls and answer every request of the guests. Room service is excellent, and if you leave your shoes outside, they are clean in the morning. There isn't much to do underwater, but you can watch videos with John Wayne and, predictably, Splash and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. You can hope that somebody rings you up. Wrong numbers are fun. You can ring anybody in the world, or you can merely wonder how much air you have in your 55 square metres of living space. The brochure boasts limitless air supply as part of your package. When you check out, you decompress. This ensures that you aren't suffering from the bends, a sickness caused by decompression, and receive your treasured Aquanaut certificate, which verifies that you've spent the whole night in the sea and enjoyed all the benefits of the experience. These are obvious. Staying underwater in Florida is the best way to avoid sunburn, mosquitoes and annoying tourist activities. Okay, now we've read the piece, we're going to start analysing it in light of language and structure. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about tone, the tone of a piece of writing. What do you think the tone of that was? Did it make you think that the writer had a brilliant time there, that he wants to rush back, or did it make you think that he was slightly poking fun at this? I think it's the latter. He was, well, in fact, I know it's the latter. He was poking fun at this, and that's tone, and that's a language technique which we can learn to use ourselves. So I want you to find quotes. So you've got to find 5 quotes. There they are. What the Jules Verne Lodge looks like. The hotel is very private. The food is awful. There's nothing to do in the hotel, and the writer didn't really enjoy the experience. So you can you write out, answer this in full sentences. What the hotel is very private. This is shown by a quote, an appropriate quote. So you've got 5 quotes to find there. And I'm going to keep repeating this. I'd love to see your work, Year 8. Not seeing very much from this group. So it'd be nice to see something. I appreciate it's not always possible to do that, but if ever you can, I would love to see it. There are achievement points aplenty on offer. So there you are. Find those quotes. I'll give you 15 minutes to do that. Hello. Well, looking at this slide, I'm going to I'll show you 2 that I've found. There's nothing to do in the hotel. Well, I mean, never be shy, Year 8, of going for something that's really obvious, like it's saying here. Oh, for crying out loud, I'm not very good at this. Saying here, there isn't much to do underwater. You wouldn't have to do a great deal of analysis on that to show that it shows that there isn't much to do. Also another one, the food is awful. Yeah, Carla then leads you to your microwave steak and lobster. I mean, doesn't sound very nice, does it really? I guess it's hard to get sort of gas or anything else down there, but yeah, a microwave steak and lobster. I think you'd have to be careful about that. So there's my 2. One for there's not much to do, and the other one for the food is awful. So you can you'll have done the rest by now, but there's 2 just as an example. Here's some more pictures of this actual underwater hotel. I must say it doesn't really appeal to me. I think I'd be quite worried the whole time that I was there, because 9 meters down is actually quite a long way, and there's not much else to do other than just be underwater. And there we are. There's another couple of people enjoying it. It looks grim, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Right. Anyway, back to our analysis. Now, read lines 2 to 14. And that they start with opened in, and that finishes with go far wrong. That's the piece of text you need to be looking at. Now, you need to be careful about this, because in GCSEs you're asked to look at certain parts of text, and if you look at the wrong part, you simply don't get any marks. So the first thing you do is highlight in some way the piece that you need to be looking at. So that's lines 2 to 14, and look in there for 3 quotations that show the writer is making fun of the experience. And here are some that I've gone. More of a submerged caravan than a hotel. That's got a slightly, I hate the word sarcastic, but it does sound slightly sarcastic, doesn't it? The colourful marine life, observing at close range tourists in their colourful pyjamas. That's a joke, obviously. The secret of putting flippers on is that there is no secret. Right, so we've established now that the tone is a bit sort of taking a mickey, really. But we're going to look at now at the language and structure on these quotes as to exactly how that's been done. Before we go any further, here is a list. It's not definitive, it's not all of them, of the language and structure devices, but it's certainly enough for the purposes of today. It's pretty much all of them. So these are the language and structure devices you'll be using today. Now, what is that technique? More of a submerged caravan than a hotel. What is that? That's a simile, isn't it? Than, as, like, that's a simile. So that's a language device, a simile. Now we're going to look for some structure in one of these. I wonder if you can spot it. Look at the third one. It's repetition, isn't it? It's very straightforward. Secret's a repetition. There is no secret, but then if you repeat secret twice, it's funny. Certainly in the context of this piece. And here we've got a paragraph here that I've put together. The writer uses a simile to describe the hotel as being like a submerged caravan. The word caravan suggests something that is basic, small and cramped and not luxurious like a hotel. The word submerged also adds comedy because it means that the caravan is underwater. It makes the reader think that staying in the hotel will be really awful. So you've got it all there. You've got a bit of subject terminology. You've talked about a simile. You've done your close word analysis on caravan. It makes it seem small and cramped, not luxurious. Submerged, because caravans underwater are funny. And you've also talked about how, or rather I've also talked about how it makes the reader feel that staying in the hotel would be really awful. Now I want you to create your own mermaid hotel using the types of devices that we've talked about earlier on. I want you to decide on a tone for your piece. So you're gonna, maybe your underwater hotel is absolutely brilliant. And everybody wants to go there, so the tone would be more sort of celebratory than slightly sarcastic as the one that we saw. So that there's the tone there, and you can use similes, metaphors, personifications, all those language devices. And also I'd like you to think about structure, repetition, sentence lengths for effect, and how punctuation is used and so on. So what would a night in your hotel be like? You should include what it looks like, the activities on offer, the food. Now, in your imagination, this could be a really wonderful place, and I hope it is. I want you to write this up for me, Year 8, and if you can, I'd like me to send you your work so I can start rewarding you for it. As I say, been a bit quiet from this group, so I'd like to hear from you. Anyway, thanks, Year 8. Have a lovely weekend, and I will speak to you next week.